Hello and welcome to Train Signal. You're watching video number 14, Installing and Administering Linux Open Office. So here's our table of contents. In this video we're going to talk about first, what is Open Office? Then we'll talk about installing Open Office, common Microsoft Office tasks that you can perform in Open Office, how to share files between Open Office and Microsoft Office, and then back to our scenario at the Big Sky Fishing Supply Company. So first off, what is Open Office? Well, back in the mid-1980s, a company called Star Division in Germany created a program called Star Office. That company was acquired by Sun Microsystems in 1999. Sun began giving away Star Office to anyone on the internet who wanted to download it. The source code for the suite was released as Open Office. They also have, of course, compiled versions of Open Office for Linux, Windows, Mac, FreeBSD, and Solaris. Sun now sells Star Office for $69, and Star Office has some third-party add-ins that aren't in Open Office, but other than that, they're basically the same. In fact, a lot of the new tools that Sun comes out with for Star Office are incorporated into Open Office, so Open Office could almost be the beta of Star Office with a few third-party add-ins missing. They're both excellent programs, very full-featured. So let's talk about them. First off, Open Office includes a program called Writer. Writer is a word processor that can do simple to advanced tasks. Very similar to Microsoft Word, it has a lot of functionality. Then there's a program called Calc. Calc is a spreadsheet with full Excel-like functionality. So it's got a lot of functionality, does charts and graphs and everything like that. Can pull in data from a database. Then there's Impress. Impress is a presentation program that supports multimedia. So this is similar to Microsoft PowerPoint if you're familiar with PowerPoint. So you can create slick presentations with video and graphics and sound. Pretty cool program. Then there's Draw. Now Draw is a drawing program used to create simple drawings all the way up to 3D drawings. So this is a drawing program, hence the name, right? Then there's Base. Base is a database query and reporting system. You can use Base to hit some other database like a Microsoft SQL database or an Oracle database, or it has its own SQL database if you choose to use that. So there's a lot of functionality in this Open Office suite. Now Open Office supports the open document format, and Open Office is available in over 30 languages. More information on Open Office can be found at openoffice.org. Next I want to talk about a program called Evolution. Evolution is not part of Open Office, but from the menuing structure in Linux it appears to be. Evolution provides the following. It provides email, calendar, and task management, and of course contacts. So this is very similar in functionality to Microsoft Outlook if you're familiar with that. It's a lot better than Outlook Express even. It's got a lot of connectors to connect to different mail servers. In fact, normally you have to use Outlook to connect to a Microsoft Exchange server if you're running RPC. RPC is Remote Procedure Call. It's the method that gives you the most functionality out of connecting to an Exchange server. You know, so with RPC you get shared folders, tasks, notes, journaling, all those more advanced functionality that you normally just don't get with regular Outlook Express. So previously you couldn't use any other client except Outlook to connect to Exchange and get all that functionality. But now there is an Exchange connector for Evolution Mail. It's called Evolution Exchange Connector, and you can connect directly to Exchange with Evolution. Evolution offers advanced functionality like junk mail filtering, email searching, web calendars, and even multiple accounts. So it's got a lot of great features. You can find more information on Evolution at gnome.org/projects/evolution. Now let's talk about installing Open Office. Now because we took the defaults when we installed Fedora Linux, it installed most of the OpenOffice suite for us already. It installed Writer, Calc, and Impress. But now let's go and see what parts were not installed and see how we would install the additional applications if needed. Also, we'll go out to the OpenOffice website and see where we can download and upgrade. So we're over here on our Linux server. Let's go up here to Applications and then over to Office. So if you look through this list here, first it shows you Calendar. Calendar is actually part of Evolution. It's not part of OpenOffice. Then there's Presentation. This is actually Impress, which is part of OpenOffice. There's Project Management, which is not part of OpenOffice. This program's called Planner. There's Spreadsheet, which is actually Calc, and that is part of OpenOffice. There's Task, which is actually part of Groupware, part of the Evolution Groupware suite. Then there's the Word Processor, which is actually Write, and that's part of the OpenOffice suite. So it's kind of a mix in here. I said the menuing system in Linux makes it seem like Evolution is part of OpenOffice, but really it isn't. So you can see now why that is. So if we go to Add Remove Software, take just a second to load up here. Once we're in here, I want to show you the Office applications that are available. They're under Applications here, and then over in Office/Productivity. Now it says here 9 of the 36 optional packages are installed. So if I click Optional Packages, here's all the different Office applications or productivity applications available. These aren't all part of OpenOffice. There's a lot of great programs here. There's another word processor. There's a diagram and drawing program. There's a labeling program, a time tracking. There's a finance program, another spreadsheet, a recipe manager, personal finance manager, tons of programs. Another Office suite, K-Office, another recipe program, another presentation program. So here, when you get to the openoffice.org applications here, you can see which ones are installed and which ones aren't. So like here's the database, Base, which is part of OpenOffice. It was not installed. So I can check this here to install it if I want to. There's Mail Merge, it's not installed. There's Java Filter, not installed. Python Bindings for OpenOffice, not installed. And Test Tools, not installed. Other than that, everything else in this OpenOffice application was installed. We have Writer, we have Math, we have Impress, Graphic Filter, Draw, Calc. So all those different things are installed, and you see what isn't installed. So if I want to install Base, I would just check this here, close out, say Apply, and it would install the database. So you see how to install other applications for OpenOffice. Let's close this out, and let's go to the OpenOffice website, and you can see how to download and upgrade. Actually, I want to point out there's two ways to download and upgrade. One would be to go directly to the OpenOffice site. Another way would be to use Yum or Yumex, like this software updater or the command line tool Yum, or you can install Yumex to actually go out and install an update to OpenOffice. So let's go to openoffice.org. Here's our website, free Office Suite, multi-platform, multi-language, comes in 30 languages, and here you can get OpenOffice version 2.02. Now if I go up here and I run one of the OpenOffice applications, let's do that. Let's run the word processor, Writer. It says it's starting the word processor down here. I want to show you what version of OpenOffice we're running. It says the major version's 2.0. Let's see what the subversion is. So if I go to Help, About OpenOffice, I'm running 2.02. So I am the most current. If we close this out, if I click Get OpenOffice version 2.02 right here, this is already the most current. I can select my language, US English, select my operating system. You see all the different operating systems it's supported for here. We'll get x86. Then download site, something in the United States would be good for me. So here I can download 2.02 OpenOffice. Notice it's a tar and it's gzipped. It's an archive. So that's how I would get the latest version. Right now I have the latest version already. But by the time that you're doing this video, you might go out here and there might be version 2.03 or 2.5 or 3.0. And you might want to download that. So you could download it from here, or you could use a software updater program, and it might be able to find the latest version for you and install it automatically. So let's close this out. And we're back here at our slides, and let's go on to the next topic. In this section, I just want to demonstrate how you can perform your common Microsoft Office tasks using OpenOffice Suite. So let's go over to our OpenOffice applications over here on the Linux server, and let's start off with Word Processor or Writer. So here in Writer, let's just do some of the common things that I suspect most people do every day. So if you start to type, so you type some text out here. So you want to mark that text. You can change the font up here, of course. There's not a lot of fonts. There's actually more fonts in Star Office than there are in OpenOffice. But still, you have a good selection of fonts. So I can change that to Courier. I can increase the size, make it bold, italic, underlined. Here I can center it. I can use numbering. So I can make a list here. I could use bullets. Here's the bullet and numbering toolbar. I'm going to turn that off. I can decrease indent like that, or I can increase indent. I can zoom in to see the entire page like that. Actually, that's zooming out, but I can also zoom in, of course, like that. If I go up here, I can insert a table. I can do formulas. Of course, there's spell check, word count. There's a gallery here with different backgrounds, different bullets, rulers, sounds, themes. A lot of different things you can do there. There's a media player. You can do mail merges. Insert special characters, of course. Insert a note on top of your document. Format movies and sounds. You can put a frame around the document. And you can export this as a PDF. So say I want to send this to a PDF. I'm going to click on that, and let me call it test PDF. It's going to save it in my root home directory there. It's fine with me. I'll say save. I'm going to send all pages to a PDF. And let's go see if this worked. So if I open up, well actually I just need to open up my root home down here. And we called it test. There it is right there, test pdf.pdf. So if I open that, here's our PDF viewer right here. So we were able to open this as a PDF, and now we could even email it if we wanted to. We could take this document and we could email it with Evolution. So we can create PDFs. We can go back here. We can do File, Save As, and I can save this as different file types. Open documents, Microsoft Word, 97, 2000 XP, 95, Word version 6, rich text format, just as text, or as an HTML document. Of course, I can print. A lot of different things you can do with Writer. So I just wanted you to get an idea of how functional Writer is. It's not just a scaled down word processor. It's not like Microsoft WordPad or anything like that. It's a fully functioning word processor. So let me close this out. We'll discard our document. And now let's go look at Calc. So here inside Calc, I can make a basic spreadsheet. And I can put in some numbers. Down here at the bottom I can do a total. Let's make this column here into currency. Right there, that's number format currency. Then down here I can do a total with a formula. I can mark these. And this is the exact same thing I would do in Microsoft Excel. Right there, that works just the same. If I mark this, I can do Control B and I can bold that. I can do Control X just like in Excel, and I can go over here and I can do Control V and paste it in. Up here I can change the font. I can change the font down here. We can make this column wider. Let's see, we can do a chart and a graph on this. If I go up here to Insert, Chart, it finds the formula or the areas there that I marked. I'm going to say Next, and I'm going to insert a graph. And we'll call this Budget Graph. And there's our budget graph right there. So you can see over time the budget is increasing, and we graph that quick and easy using Calc. So of course there's a lot of other things here. I can convert it to PDF, I can print it, I can save this as an Excel document, I can email this. So many different options for Calc. Here's the Save As. I can change the file type here, go down and make this an XLS, save it as a Excel document. So let's click Cancel and let's close this out. I just wanted you to get an idea of how fully functional Calc really is. So now let's go into Applications and go to Presentation, and this is Impress. This is OpenOffice Impress. So here there's templates for presentations. Let's try the Fedora presentation. We'll say Next here. We can select some custom colors. How about that? So we'll make a presentation for Big Sky Fishing Supply. And the subject will be this year's budget. How we will be over budget ways to spend the money. Alright, let's say create. And we created a presentation. That quick and that easy. So here I can go to slideshow, say I want to see a slideshow, and here's my presentation. Not much there yet, but we can pretty easily change this. Alright, this year's budget. We can go to the next slide. New budget numbers. We can go down here to the next slide. Ways to spend our money. And look at this. Invest in new Linux system. So you can see here how easy it is, how similar this is to Microsoft PowerPoint. I can change the font here. I can make this bold, italic. I can insert charts, spreadsheets, hyperlinks. I can export this to a PDF. Use it, of course, for a slideshow, do timings, slide transitions, animations, spell check, insert graphics, change the layout of the slides, insert a movie or a sound. I can, of course, save this. Save this as a Microsoft PowerPoint document, so I can move these files back and forth from PowerPoint and into Impress. So I just wanted you to get an idea of how fully functional Impress is, just like all the other Office, OpenOffice applications. So let me close this out. And we'll go back to our slides. And now let's move on to our scenario. At the Big Sky Fishing Supply Company, they have many Office users, Microsoft Office users, just like most companies out there. You need to be able to open, edit, and save these Microsoft Office files using Linux Open Office Suite. If you can't, it's never going to work, right? So here's your task list. You need to create a shared folder on your Windows client. You need to share that folder out across the network. Put a Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and a PowerPoint document in that folder. Then over on the Linux system, open these documents, edit them, save them back. Then on the Windows side, open those documents again and see if the changes appear in Microsoft Office just like they did in OpenOffice. So we're really testing the compatibility of these different applications back and forth. Now, of course, when you get into some of the advanced features, I'm just going to tell you right out the compatibility's not going to work on a lot of the advanced features. But on most of the basic and intermediate and a few of the advanced features, the compatibility is there. And we're going to demonstrate it. Now let's minimize this. And let's create a test folder right here on the desktop. I'm going to do new, and I'm going to call it just test. We'll just call it test for now. Later we could implement a real share off of a file server where all the Office documents are stored. But for now we're just going to test from this Windows client to the Linux server back and forth using this shared test folder. So we called it test. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to do sharing and security. I'm going to check here to share this folder on the network. I'm going to allow network users to change my files. The share name is going to be test. I'll say OK. And if we look at my computer here, my network places, if I go on to advanced and network identification, we can see this computer is called Client 1 and it's in the Big Sky Fishing Supply or SU workgroup. Alright, the IP address on this machine, if I go to support here, is 192.168.1.15. Okay, so we know what client this is. Let's go into this folder. I'm going to right click. I'm going to create a new Microsoft Word document. going to call it MS Word Doc. Now I'm going to create a new Microsoft Excel worksheet. Alright, and then finally, let's create a new Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. Alright, so we have our 3 documents there. They're in this test folder. It's shared out on the network. Let's close this out, and let's go over to our Linux server. Okay, so over here on the Linux server, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my computer, and I'm going to go up to File and go to Open Location. Now here I can type sort of this Universal Resource Locator box right here, and Windows, uses SMB, or Server Message Blocks. That's the name of the protocol that Windows uses to share files. So Linux identifies Windows computers that share files with SMB. That's the name of it. So kind of like you go to a web page and you type HTTP, you're telling your web browser that that's a web page or an HTTP page you're about to pull up. Or you open your web browser and you type in FTP:// you're opening an FTP site. Well, here we're opening an SMB computer. So I'm going to use the IP address, and that's because we don't have DNS set up yet. And I'm just going to browse that location right there, and let's go ahead and add on /test. So I've got my client right here, and then /test. That's the name of the folder I'm sharing, and I'll click Open. So it goes across the network to the Windows client, and it found these 3 files. Notice it knows that they're all XLS, PowerPoint, or Word doc files. But notice it also associated this with the proper programs. And I can tell that because the icons on these files represent, here in this case, the Writer application, the Impress application, and the Calc application. So if I open these up, so I just opened the Word document inside Writer, and I'm going to type in here, this is a test from Open Office Writer. And let's go up here and change the font on this. Change it to Luxy Mono, and change it to 36 point. And I'll do bold, italic, underline, and center. And I'm going to do File, Save. Now it says this document may contain formatting or other content that cannot be saved in the Microsoft Word file format. Do you want to save the document in this format anyway? So if I say yes, I save it in Microsoft Word 97 2000 XP file format. If I say no, I used the Open Document format, and I'll get all the formatting that Open Office Writer put in there. So I'm going to say yes. So I saved that. So I'm going to close it out, and in a minute we'll go over to our Windows system and we'll test it out and see if those changes really are there. So now let's go into the PowerPoint document, and I'm just going to do the same kind of test here. I'm going to say Big Sky Fishing Presentation. So I'm going to put a couple bullets in there. I'm going to select this up here. I'm going to make it bold. I'm going to change the font from Arial to Luxy Mono again. And what happens if we right click on it? Size, style, what else can we change here? How about shadow? Let's give it a shadow. Alright, that's kind of cool. Oh, let's change the color. At least we can do that. Font color. Make it a nice blue. Alright, so let's say save. And it says you're going to, you may lose some changes here. I'm going to say yes anyway. And we save that. So in a minute we'll go over to Microsoft PowerPoint, see if those changes worked. So let's close this out. And let's do the same thing in Excel. Oh, I called it Excel, didn't I? Looks a lot like Excel. It's actually Calc, right? OpenOffice Calc. So let's do our budget again here. Oh, got to spell it right. It told me I was spelling it wrong, didn't it? January, February, March. And we'll put in some numbers. And we'll do a total. And we'll make this all currency. And we'll make it bold. And make it 20 point. Oh. There we go. And let's make this font avant-garde bold. 24 point alignment, horizontal. I'm gonna select filled. There we go. So we got our spreadsheet here. Let's go ahead and save it. Say yes. And we'll close it out. So now let's go over to our Microsoft Office applications. So over here in the test folder, I'm back on my Windows system. I'm back on my test client. I've got these documents, and I'm just going to open them up one at a time from the start. Start off with Excel. And as you can see here, we had some good and some bad. Looks like most of it's there. But when it comes to the budget up here that was made filled, that didn't work so well. So what I can actually do with this is we'll just fix it. There we go. So it didn't really like the fill as much, or the fill looked different, I should say. Maybe the fill worked fine, but it just looked a little bit different over here. But other than that, it worked fine. So, you might get some minor glitches here and there, but, our formula came through, so we can change this, and, the formula changes. Everything else seemed to work fine. Now, we didn't do anything like a chart or a graph, but, most of the basics worked fine. So let's close this out, and we'll save those changes. Let's open the PowerPoint presentation. Hey, this one looks really good. I've got this up here. It's blue. You can see it's kind of shadowy. I've got my bullets down here. So the PowerPoint presentation seemed to work good. It's in Luxy Mono is the font there. So that one turned out well. Let's open the Word doc. Here's our test from OpenOffice Writer. And it is in Luxy Mono. It's bold, italic, underlined, and it's centered. So that one worked out well too. So you can see there's some little minor glitches sometimes in conversion between these two Office suites, but for the most part, everything worked. So I'm going to close this out. We can close this out. Let's go back to our slides. So what we did is we created a shared folder on the Windows system. We shared out that folder. We put documents in there from Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Over on the Linux system, we opened these documents, we edited them, we saved them back. Then on the Windows side, we opened those documents in Microsoft Office to see if they look like they did in OpenOffice. And for the most part, they did. So that concludes our test for the Big Sky Fishing Company. It looks like the conversion between Microsoft Office and OpenOffice documents is going to work pretty well. So with that, we can move to our conclusion of this video. So in video number 14, we learned what is OpenOffice. It's a free Office suite available not only for Linux but also for Windows and a number of other platforms. OpenOffice suite has Writer, has Calc, Impress, and Base. So it has all the core applications you need in an Office productivity suite: a word processor, spreadsheet, presentation utility, and a database. We learned that OpenOffice was installed by default when we installed Fedora Linux, but there are other things you can do to go in and add some additional Office applications. We performed some common Microsoft Office tasks in OpenOffice, changing fonts, cutting and pasting, making bold, inserting charts in a spreadsheet, creating a presentation. Then we tested sharing files between OpenOffice and Microsoft Office, and we found that the compatibility and the test worked pretty well. We also saw how a Linux Fedora client can use SMB, a server message block, so it's easy to share files between a Windows client and a Linux client. So these two systems can pretty easily share files back and forth. We didn't look at Samba. Samba will be in an upcoming video. What Samba does is it makes the Linux server a Windows server. What we did here is we shared files off of a Windows client, sort of making it a server, and we use the Linux SMB client to talk to that Windows client. So with that, that's the end of video number 14, where we learned about OpenOffice. Thank you very much.